We've got a size 8 Skulka barbless check nymph hook in the vise with a tungsten bead. Just going to thicken up the body and add a little bit more weight. So we're going to use our flat lead wire. Start that here right about on top of the bend and just start wrapping that wire forward. Make sure each turn just kind of butts up against the previous one. Work that right up here against the bead and just kind of nick that off. And you can come in here and trim off that back with some old scissors. And I'm going to do 2 layers here. So what I want to do is I want to start this layer just ahead of that first layer just to kind of create that nice shape. And again, you can add as many layers if you want. Just make the fly, 1 layer for your lights and just a couple layers for your medium. Just take that right up there, leave a little gap behind where I stop that first layer, trim off that excess. You can kind of roll it onto the hook there with your nail. And just for some security, you can take a little head cement and coat that, kind of soak in there. Alright, so we'll get our thread on here. We've got some black power silk. Just get that started and just make a couple passes over the hook to make sure that the lead's not going anywhere. Secure it in place. Good to go. Get our excess thread off of here. Now we're going to have some ribbing on this fly, so we're going to use some small silver wire. So I'm just going to actually put that end of the wire right there in the bead. A few soft wraps will hold it in place, and just kind of work it down the back side of the hook there. Take that down onto the bare part of the hook, and that's nice and secure. I'm going to adjust this a little bit. Now we're going to use some holographic tinsel material. This is the silver. Has a lot of nice flash to it. We're just going to tie that back here. We can set it right on top and work that down to where that wire's tied in. And you can fill in any little low spots here with the thread. It looks pretty good, nice and secure. Okay, so we got our ribbing in there, we've got our holographic tinsel tied in. Now we're just going to use some dubbing. I'm going to use a dubbing brush this time, just a little quicker. It has all the dubbing trapped between 2 wires. Real easy to use. Just strip away a little bit of the fibers so you expose that wire. Tie that in place. And again, with this power silk, you can really put some tension on there so it's not going to slip. And it works a little easy to put on some hackle pliers on the end. This is very similar to how we tie the check nymph, of course. This is a good fly to use while you're check nymphing. This could be your fly in your middle position. Add a lot of weight because of that tungsten bead. Again, we're just going to wrap this forward. Really simple. Adjust this hook a bit. And I use pretty much this whole entire brush here. So I'm a good 2/3 of the way up, maybe a little bit more up the hook. Probably about maybe the width of that bead gap there. Make sure that's tied down, nice and secure. Now we're going to bring our tinsel over the top and just try to keep that in place in the center. Get a couple wraps of thread over there, 1 or 2 loose ones, and then you can apply some tension so it's not going to slip out. Get rid of that excess. Now that ribbing is going to be just for little segmentation, but it's also going to hold that tinsel in place. Kind of hold it in place during this first wrap so it doesn't slip. And just bring it up. Make sure each wrap's kind of evenly spaced. Looks good. Now you can change the color of your wire to. So many colors of this available now. Readjust this. Make sure that wire's tied off nice and secure. Get rid of that excess. Alright, I got most of the body done here. Now we're going to take some dubbing. I like this Pearl Hair Zero Plus dubbing. Got a lot of nice little shine to it. Real soft, easy to work with. Comes in a bunch of colors. Just the regular black color. Just going to make a little dubbing loop here. This fly is going to be a little bit buggy, so the loop helps to bring out those fibers. Just insert our dubbing twister tool into the loop. Bring our dubbing into the loop. Kind of spread it out here a bit. Even it out. Now I'll just do a couple slow turns of the tool to get it started. Then you can really give it a good spin here to lock all those fibers in place. And you can pick out any lumps you might have and just start wrapping this forward. I like to bring that up right up to the bead real quick, and then maybe back once or twice to bulk that thorax up. Drop your thread over just behind the bead. Apply some tension to secure it. You can get rid of this thread. Readjust. Come in here with our whip finish. You can get rid of our thread. It's really strong stuff. Don't need really any head cement most of the time. Secure that and get rid of it. And I like to come in here with the dubbing pick tool and just kind of really pick this out. Kind of flare it back a little bit. Again, this is it's got that tungsten bead, so it's going to sink pretty fast, so I'm okay with having this pretty buggy. Even though the more bugginess you have to your flies, whenever you add rubber legs and all kinds of things, it tends to slow that fly down. It's not going to sink as fast, but this just gives it a different look. I'll come in here and maybe trim off some of the really wild long ones, but for the most part I like to leave this pretty buggy. Give them something different. Alright, so there's the holographic caddis. You can see the shine on the back with that material. That comes in different widths, so you can adjust that to the size of the fly. Alright, hope you enjoyed it. Tie some up, catch some fish.